Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Also, if you're interested in courses or books, or you have ideas on how to improve these content, please check out the link in the description box. Hi everyone, in this video we will take a look at estimating the market size of toothbrush. Particularly, we will look at estimating the market size of non-electric toothbrushes, and I'm going to do it for the US, Canada, and the whole world. To reiterate, the point of these kinds of questions is to see the logical steps that we apply to estimate. It is not about getting the precise and perfect number. So let's go ahead. The proxy for estimating the market size for toothbrush in this particular example would be population. So we can tackle this in different ways. So this is one of many ways to get it done. So let's start with the population. So these are some useful numbers to know in the back of our heads. So the total population in US is 330 million. It's 38 million in Canada and 7.8 billion in the whole world. Now we can assume that almost 90% of the whole population uses a toothbrush. So that brings us, gives us the user base for toothbrushes. So it's about 300 million roughly in the US, 34 million in Canada, and 7 billion in the whole world. Now, among the users of toothbrush, we are going to assume that, let's say, 80% of them use a non-electric toothbrush. So we can also assume 70% or 75%. So this is essentially based on the analyst's discretion. So in this particular example, let's assume 80%. So that gives us 80% of 300. So 80% is also a relatively easier number to work with. So 8 times 3 gives 24. So 240 million people use a non-electric toothbrush in the US. Likewise, around 27 million people use it in Canada, and around 5.6 billion people use it in the whole world. And then we are going to assume that one person uses a total of four brushes in 1 year. So this is based on the logic that typically doctors recommend, that we use one brush for 3 months and then we buy a new one. So using that logic as the basis, I can then assume that one person on average uses four brushes in 1 year. So using that as the assumption, we can then estimate that in one given year, around 960 million brushes are sold in the US. Around 110 million brushes in the Canada, and in the whole world it should come up to around 22.4 billion brushes. And then let's assume the average price of a brush, and in this example I'll assume that the average price of a brush is $3. So in reality there are different qualities of brush available, so we can buy something maybe for $1, and then there are other good brushes that are maybe $20 or $25 per brush. So to put everything together, I'd just assume that an average price of $3, and multiplying the $3 with the total number of brushes that are sold in a year, we can then estimate the total market size of toothbrush, of non-electric toothbrush in a given year. So that number comes down to $2.88 billion in the US, $0.33 billion in Canada, and around $67 billion in the whole world. So this is one way to tackle the question of estimating the market size of non-electric toothbrushes. If you like my videos and find them helpful, then please support my work by subscribing to the channel.